Hello, I'm Marina Kim and you're watching the latest updates from Kazakhstan. Parliamentary committees must prepare their conclusions by June 25th, as the most scandalous bill in recent times was given a green light on Friday. At the same time, in an interview to Kaztech news agency, MP Amzibek Zhelshibekov said the procedure could be fast-tracked and the decision ready by the end of May. Zhelshibekov also said the president's administration did not comment on the project yet.
New development appeared on Friday when the Moscow office of the internet portal Respublika received an anonymous email saying that the president's staff is allegedly working on a document which will allow Nursultan Nazarbayev to rule the country until 2020.
Nazarbayev has rewritten the constitution dozens of times already. I believe this was not the initiative of MPs, and the president simply ordered them to develop a document which would ensure his position until 2020.
The letter says the project is excessive in the sense that the president will not only rule the country for another 10 years, but will also become virtually untouchable together with his family and property. At the same time, it is rather obvious why Nazarbayev needs this status.
The whole idea is to assure that the next president will be a member of his family who will continue the stand for his property and security.
According to the author of the letter, the authorities will use a national referendum to pass this outrageous from the democracy point of view idea. This will likely happen in fall. Kazakh political scientists believe that the outcome of such referendum, if it ever takes place, is predetermined, and the people's opinion will be univocal.
The referendum will be held only to assure the legitimacy of the idea. The document where Nazarbayev is given the status of the nation's leader will disappear as soon as he will cease being a president.
In other words, Kazakh MPs give Nazarbayev a much more significant gift than just the status of the nation's leader, as this could be the first step of the incumbent president towards the lifelong rule.
Kazakh politicians already expressed their opinions about the possible extension of president's term and the perspective of a referendum.
Leaving Nazarbayev in power until 2020 will look like the introduction of monarchy, which contradicts the democratic principles of our country. The president is elected by people and people define his further status. This is quite possible in Kazakhstan. I believe there are people in President's entourage who lobby this idea. This may be indicative of the interpretations of the head of state speeches delivered over the past 2 years, including the initiation of the strategic plan until 2020 and a promise to implement it. The distrust towards the system is growing, and now the corrupt authorities are also using fear, and moral disintegration. Societies like this are unpredictable. I think that analysts in the President's administration, as well as those hired from abroad, will not be able to say what the reaction will be. It is obvious that a great deal will depend on the opinions of public leaders and whether they will be prevented from delivering their alternative view to the public.
The leaked information is also actively discussed in Russia. Experts believe that the idea to extend Nazarbayev's political life will be proposed soon, as the attempts to do so have already been made before. At the same time, it is likely these proposals will be presented as coming from the population.
Russian experts believe that after the recent proposal to relieve President Nazarbayev of any criminal liabilities and grant him other privileges of the nation's leader, the appearance of the new initiative was quite predictable. Now it looks like Nazarbayev is not planning to retire after securing his family's property. Expert Yuri Panasik says the fact that this information comes by the way of rumors is explainable, and this is an obvious signal to elites and businesses.
I think the information could have been leaked by the high-ranked authorities. Kazakhstan wants to appear as a democratic leader in Central Asia. Thus, if this information was spread officially, the opposition and international community would definitely denounce it.
The prospect of extending the political life of the president until 2020 is a direct way to consolidate the authoritarianism. While people in Great Britain vote for the hung parliament in times of the crisis and the authorities have to carefully weigh and confirm every decision made, Kazakhstan moved in the opposite direction. Apparently, international duties of the OSCE chair are not seen as an obstacle for remaining in power for another decade. An expert of the Carnegie Center, Alexei Maloshenko, predicts that this proposal will be made very soon.
The idea is already out there, and now people are getting used to it. If nothing extraordinary happens, people will eventually accept it, especially since Nazarbayev himself is not against it.
Moreover, experts believe the idea will be presented as if it is initiated by the people, as the state already has proven mechanism to do so. The inevitable national referendum will simply consolidate the new status. The modern history teaches that leaders of Central Asian countries never learned to resign voluntarily, which can be seen in the examples of Turkmenistan and Kyrgyzstan.
Russian politicians expressed their solidarity with Kazakh opposition, which opposes the bill on the leader of the nation and ideas to extend presidential powers. Co-chairman of the Liberal Party Right Cause Leonid Gozman is convinced that political initiatives like this will lead Kazakhstan to a collapse.
I take this very negatively, so do all of my colleagues. The only thing we can do now is express solidarity with millions of people in Kazakhstan who are probably just as disgusted as we are. The world experience of the last few decades shows that attempts to maintain eternal authoritarian modernization all eventually lead to the collapse, bloodshed and catastrophe. I hope Kazakhstan will avoid disaster when it will escape this feudal system.
In the meantime, on May 7th, the president congratulated the country's armed forces with their professional holiday and awarded personnel with new military and other ranks. Saken Jasuzakov was awarded the rank of a colonel general, while Mukhtar Ayubayev and Alexander Sorokin became lieutenant general and lieutenant general of aviation respectively. 10 Kazakh citizens were awarded ranks of major generals, and 5 internal affairs personnel now hold the special rank of major general of police. Kairat Mami became the state justice advisor of the first decree. In addition, the captain of the plane that brought Bakiyev from Kyrgyzstan to Taras was presented with the Aybin order.
This man flew to Jalalabad upon my order.
Not all war veterans and home front workers will celebrate the Victory Day with joy, as many feel resentment being either completely forgotten or ended up in the list of expenditure cuts.
Faina Smetannikova was a worker of the home front during the war. The widow of a disabled war veteran has worked in the mine her entire life. In time for the Victory Day anniversary, officials choose to pay her the low-rate lump benefit of just $100. I can't even go anywhere as I have a very poor vision. My daughter is also disabled and has to use crutches even at home. Representatives of the Department of Social Protection explained that the benefits were calculated upon the consideration of only one disability status. Thus, if veterans want to receive benefits in several categories, they must appeal to the State Center for Pensions Payments. We make payments only according to the pre-compiled lists that are sent to us from the pension center. Anatoly Kuzmin, another disabled war veteran and survivor of the Leningrad siege, was not on the list either. Officials forgot to award the veteran with the anniversary medal, and the pensioner decided to remind them of his existence.
This shows the ignorance of the authorities who build cottages for themselves but forget about ordinary people.
The Victory Day is a holiday that brings memories with tears. Unfortunately, 65 years after the end of the war, veterans have tears of grievance in their eyes.